What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a branded Gate Guardian deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Dawn. And this deck is an extremely powerful deck to play that can summon out all sorts of awesome fusion monsters like Mirror Jade or Gate Guardian combined. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. And definitely give Dawn some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're playing 2 copies of Sanga of the Thunder, 2 copies of Kazajin, and 2 copies of Suijin. I feel like playing 2 copies of each of the Gate Guardian pieces gives us the maximum level to help us step into all sorts of really cool fusions, like the 2-segment fusions or even Gate Guardian combined, which is actually a thrice per turn targeting the Gate, which is actually insane. And these cards are just so nostalgic and so good to be able to play. We then play 3 copies of Labyrinth Heavy Tank. Labyrinth Heavy Tank is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card is an amazing normal summon because you can actually normal summon this card without tributing. And during your main phase, you can actually place one of the Gate Guardian pieces that's banished or in your hand or deck face up in the spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. Then, if you control a Labyrinth Wall card, you can actually destroy a monster that your opponent controls. We then play 3 copies of Shadow Ghoul of the Labyrinth. Shadow Ghoul of the Labyrinth is an amazing 3-of in the build because this card is basically terraforming for the deck. Because you can discard this card to add a Labyrinth Wall card from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to instantly grab Labyrinth Wall Shadow directly from your deck to your hand on this card's effect. Plus, at the start of the damage step, if your opponent's monster battles while you control a Labyrinth Wall card, you can banish this card in the graveyard to destroy that opponent's monster, which is a pretty cool effect. We then play a single copy of Dark Guardian. Dark Guardian is an insane boss monster that has the ability that's always treated as a Gate Guardian card. And it cannot be normal summoner set, and it must either be special summoned by Dark Element or special summoned from your hand to the graveyard by shuffling in the deck 1 each of your Gate Guardian pieces that's in your hand, face or in the field, graveyard, and or banishment. It cannot be destroyed by battle, and if it's special summoned by the effect of Dark Element, it's unaffected by monster effects of your opponent or your opponent's spell cards, which is insane how powerful this card is and how difficult it's for your opponent to deal with. We then play 3 copies of Magician Souls. Magician Souls is great as a draw engine in the deck, but it also helps us get our copy of Kazajin into the graveyard. As this card has the ability, if this card's in the hand, you can actually send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from the deck to the graveyard to special summon this card, and when it's on your side of the field, you can actually send up to 2 spells and traps from your hand and or field to the graveyard to draw that many cards, which is so cool to help us dig in the deck for the exact cards you need, as we can actually send our Gate Guardian pieces to the graveyard that are on the field, treated as continuous spells to the graveyard of Magician Soul's effect, so we can draw cards, and we can still banish them from the graveyard to summon out Gate Guardian combined, which is so cool and so free about Magician Souls. We then play 2 copies of Elemental Hero Prisma. Prisma is definitely a 2-of in the build because this card can be summoned off of a Hero Lives and also has the ability once per turn you can reveal a fusion monster in your extract and then send a fusion material whose name is specifically listed on that card from your deck to the graveyard, which is actually a for cost effect. And this card's name becomes that sent monster's name until the end of the turn, so we can actually turn this card into any of our Gate Guardian pieces, but we can also use this card in the build to basically just send one of our Gate Guardian pieces from our deck to the graveyard, so we can instantly step into a Gate Guardian combined, which is so cool, while also having an additional monster on our side of the field that counts as the piece we sent. We then play 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz. Fallen of Albaz is great as a 2-of in the build because this card is basically a walking super polymerization in the deck, and it's so cool to be able to use this card to help us step into a copy of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon. You can actually activate Branded Fusion to send this card to the graveyard, and also send a copy of Dark Magician to the graveyard to instantly summon out your copy of Lubellion discard a card, and then put them back to summon out your copy of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon to give us a walking negate, which is so cool. We then play a single copy of Aluber. Aluber is greatly able to summon off your copy of Branded Opening, so we can instantly search out our copy of Branded Fusion using this card. We then play a single copy of the Ultimate Wizard in terms of attack and defense, the Dark Magician. This card is great in the build to work with our branded engine, so we can actually summon out Red Eye's Dark Dragoon to activate Branded Fusion, send this card in Alvez to the graveyard, make Lubellion, discard a card, and put the materials back, and then summon out a copy of Dragoon, giving us a walking monster negate. And it's insane how powerful of a board it is to summon out Red Eye's Dark Dragoon and have a copy of Gate Guardian combined on your side of the field. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is definitely a one-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from using hand traps or going in for all of our plays. We then play a single copy of Dark Element. Dark Element is great to help us summon another copy of Dark Guardian, and it's a really good one-of in the build, but I really just feel like one copy is all you need in this branded build, and this card has the ability, if you have a Gate Guardian monster in the graveyard, you can pay half your life points to be able to special summon a level 11 or higher Gate Guardian monster from the hand, deck, and or extract, ignoring its summoning conditions. And then you can also banish this card in the graveyard to add to your hand one of your Gate Guardian pieces from the deck or the banishment, which all of our Gate Guardian spells and traps actually share that common effect, which is so cool to instantly grab the exact card that you need. We play a single copy of Riryoku Guardian. This card is awesome to help us OTK our opponent, because if our life points are lower than our opponent's, you can target one monster that you control with Gate Guardian in its original name, half your opponent's life points, and then that monster gains attack equal to your opponent's life points, which is a great ability to help us go in for game. We can play a single copy of Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion is awesome in the build. Help us just go into all sorts of awesome fusion plays. It's just a really awesome card in this deck to instantly bring out an awesome boss monster like a copy of Mirror Jade or Red Eye's Dark Dragoon to our side of the field. But this card is definitely a one of the build, and hopefully we get it back to 2 or 3 in the future. We can play a single copy of Branded in Red. Branded in Red is great to help us make a copy of Guardian Chimera in this deck, because this card lets us target a Despia monster or a Fallen Evolvaz in the graveyard, add it back to your hand, and then apply the ability to fusion summon a level 8 or higher fusion monster from our extract by banishing the fusion materials listed on it from the hand or field, but it cannot attack directly this turn, but we can use it to make a copy of Guardian Chimera, which is pretty cool to be able to do in the Gate Guardian deck. We can play 2 copies of Branded Opening. Branded Opening is great to help us protect our fusion monsters, but also summon out a copy of Aluber by just discarding a card so we can search out our copy of Branded Fusion directly from our deck. We can play 2 copies of Double Attack Wind and Thunder. Double Attack Wind and Thunder is great because this card is actually a quick play pop, which is really cool because if we control a Gate Guardian monster, you can target a card in the field and destroy it. We can play 3 copies of Fusion Deployment. Fusion Deployment has so many cool uses in this deck, from summoning out a Gate Guardian piece by just revealing a copy of Gate Guardian combined, to summoning out your copy of Fallen Evolvaz to your side of the field to use it as a super polymerization, which is insane, because if your opponent has a monster on the field that's special summoned the extract, you can basically just activate this card, reveal Mirror Jade, summon out your copy of Fallen Evolvaz, discard a card, which can be a Gate Guardian piece, and then summon out your copy of Mirror Jade, outing one of your opponent's monsters, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of A Hero Lives. A Hero Lives is great in the build to basically have half your life points, and then once you do, if you do not control a face of monster, you can pay half your life points to special summon a level 4 lower elemental hero monster from the deck, instantly bring out your copy of Prisma to your side of the field, so you reveal Gate Guardian combine, send any of the pieces that you need to the graveyard, and basically start all of your combos. We then play 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Super Poly is really good in the deck as a board breaker, and just a really awesome card overall in this build, just to break your opponent's board, while also summoning out some really cool cards. We then play 3 copies of Labyrinth Wall Shadow. Labyrinth Wall Shadow is an insane field spell and definitely a 3 on the build, as monsters cannot attack the turn they are summoned, except monsters whose original level is 5 or higher. And once per turn, during your main phase, you can actually place one of your Gate Guardian pieces that's banished or in the hand or deck face up in this spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. And at the start of your opponent's battle phase, you can actually target a monster your opponent controls with less attack than 1600 and destroy it, which is a pretty cool effect that your field spell actually attacks. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with a single copy of Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade is an amazing 1-of in the build. It just helps us out all sorts of really cool cards that our opponent might be playing, and it's a really good 1-of in the deck. We then play a single copy of Lubellion. Lubellion is great to help us summon another copy of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon to our side of the field, and it's just a really good card in the deck to basically just put the materials back and instantly step into a fusion play. We then play 2 copies of Albion. Albion is definitely a 2-of in the build because this card is basically like a copy of Miracle Fusion for the deck, which is actually insane to be able to do. And you basically play 2, 1 to summon and 1 to send off your copy of Mirror Jade. We then play 2 copies of Gate Guardian Combine. I feel like 2 copies in this build is really all you need. 1 to reveal off your copy of Fusion deployment, and 1 to summon to your side of the field. But this card requires all 3 of the Gate Guardian pieces, and you can actually banish them from your hand, field, and or graveyard to instantly bring out this card to your side of the field. And this card is a thrice per turn targeting negation, which is insane. Also, if this card that was special summoned is actually sent to the graveyard, you actually have the ability to be able to special summon a level 11 or lower Gate Guardian monster in the deck or the extract, ignoring its summon ignitions if your opponent makes this card leave the field, which is such a powerful ability for this card to actually have, as if this face-up special summon card and its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can actually activate that ability to make this card actually float into a different Gate Guardian card, which is actually really cool. We then play 2 copies of Gate Guardian of Wind and Water. Gate Guardian of Wind and Water is really cool because you actually don't have to use polymerization to bring out any of the Gate Guardian monsters, but all of the 2 segment pieces actually require you to banish the monsters from the field, where your copy of Gate Guardian Combined can banish them from the hand, field, or graveyard. But this card is a really cool ability. It's actually a twice per turn spell trap negate, which is so cool. And if this face-up a special summon card leaves the field because an opponent's card, you can actually special summon one of your banished Kazajan or Sujin, which is really cool that all of your 2 segment pieces actually share. If your opponent makes them leave the field, they actually replace themselves with one of the individual parts, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Gate Guardian of Water and Thunder. This card is great just to drop your opponent's attack points down to 0, which is a really cool ability to be able to use. We then play a single copy of Thunder and Wind. Thunder and Wind is awesome in the deck to help you search out the exact Gate Guardian card that you need directly from your deck to your hand. We then play a single copy of Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera is great to be able to summon off our copy of our Branded in Red, and this card is awesome to either let us draw 2 and pop a card, or pop 2 and draw a card, depending on where you use the materials from. We then play a single copy of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon. Red Eye's Dark Dragoon is insane as a boss monster to be able to summon alongside your copy of Gate Guardian Combined. And one of the reasons I love playing this deck is because you can so easily summon this card in this build by just activating a Branded Fusion. And this card cannot be destroyed by card effects, and neither player can target with card effects either. And just by discarding a card, you can negate anything, which is insane. And since we are using one vanilla monster in the form of Dark Magician, you can use its pop effect once per turn to be able to pop a card on the field that's a monster, and then do burn damage to your opponent, which is really cool. We play a single copy of Dracos Stapalio. Dracos Stapalio is a great super poly target, along with our copy of Garua, and a single copy of Mud Dragon. We are only playing fusions in the extract, which is so cool because our copy of Branded Fusion will lock us into fusion summoning alongside our copy of Fusion Deployment, which is why I feel like all you really need is fusion monsters in this extra deck. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below. I really think it's very interesting, and hopefully in the future we get Brand Diffusion back to 2 or 3. It's just such a cool card to be able to actually have, and this deck is just so fun because Gate Guardian is one of my favorite cards ever created, and it's so cool to actually play a deck based around one of the old school original cards. So that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell and there's seeing part notifications. Go on, we'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.